Watch yourself later. Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
So
we're
What?
I started recording. This will be on YouTube later. Try not to say anything that indicts you. Okay. All right. So 5p squared q plus 10q. First, I'm going to look at my numbers and see what's in common. That's 5. Then I'm going to look at my variables. That's what's in common. P squared. This doesn't have a p, so p is not in common. Q and q, they both have q, so that's in common. Start the parentheses. You're going to divide both of them by what's in common, which is 5q. 5q. 5 divided by 5 is 1. P squared divided by nothing is p squared. Q divided by q disappears is 1. So plus. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Q divided by q disappears. So it's 5q, p squared plus 2. Okay? Does anyone have any more questions on, I think this is 8.4, no?
Well, what did you just say? Can you go back?
That was 8 point.
You spoke so fast, you just confused me. I was trying to do it.
Sure, one more
My
time.
bad.
It's going to be up here. 5q, what's in common? Then after I decide what's in common, I'm taking out what's in common. So when I take it out, that means divide it out. So 5 divided by 5 disappears. P squared divided by nothing, because there's no p down here. It's just p squared. And a q divided by q cancel out perfectly. So no
Wait,
q.
but wouldn't you do like plus 5q, because you have to do q divided by 5q?
It's 10q divided by 5q, right?
How do you know? No, there's a q. It's 5p squared q. But what do you do with that q with the 5q?
No, you don't. You split everything up. So like everything's its own thing. Like 5Q aren't like together. You split it up.
Yeah. So q and q deals with each other. 5 and 5 deals
So
with
it's just
each other.
like nothing.
Yeah, it turns to nothing, or it turns to 1, which multiplication-wise, that's nothing.
Wait, Mr. Towal,
Yes, Shayna.
how do you know which method that you have to use?
It's based off the instructions. Typically, it's going to be in order of the test. So like 8.4 will be the first stuff, and then 8.5 will be the next stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions on 8.4? Okay. Any questions on 8.5?
Yeah, number 5.
Number 5, sure. M squared. So let me erase this. M squared minus 10m plus 24. Okay. So m squared minus 10m plus 24. So for this one, we're going to identify what my B and C is. You could identify where your A is, but your A is just 1 if you don't see anything in front. So you don't notice that doesn't change anything. B is going to be negative 10. C is going to be 24. So things that multiply to 24, that multiply to negative 10, or add to negative 10, I apologize. Now, 6 and 4 add to positive 10. But that's not my goal. I'm looking for negative 10. So I have to use a double negative. So now negative 6 and negative 4. Because that adds up to negative 10 while still multiplying to 24.
I did negative 2 plus negative 12, but like that wasn't right. But like why?
Because you subtracted negative 12 from 2 and dot negative 10 when it's actually negative 14.
Oh, that is negative 14. But like,
So,
I don't know how to like think of the number that like goes in.
Say you don't know what number to choose or what your goal is?
Yeah, like how, I don't know what multiplies in but equals that.
You have to find that. That's literally the problem. So you have to figure out, oh, 6 and 4 adds to 10 and multiplies to 24. Then you have to actively think, oh, I'm aiming for a negative 10. So I got to make these both negative, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any questions more on 8.5 from anybody? Okay. Let's go to 8.6. This one is probably, I would say, the hardest out of all of them because you have the A and you have a lot of steps going on at once. So there's a lot of potential for errors. So anything from 8.7 from you guys? Or 8.6, I apologize.
Can you just like go over like all of it? Because I couldn't
No,
think
please don't. I have a question and it's really pissing me off that I can't ask my question.
Do like one or two.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
know.
do one hard one. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So 20. 20 looks good. 12 n squared minus 11n plus 2 equals 0.
Do you say that or like show your board?
So here it is.
Is this where you find your like A, B, and C?
Good idea. We're gonna find A, B, and C, and we're gonna just put a space for
Oh.
capital C too.
12, negative 11, and 2.
Good. So 12, negative 11, and 2. Capital C is A times C, which is 24. So I'm just going to rewrite that n squared minus 11n plus 24
I
equals
don't
0.
like this.
So I multiply the capital C, so that's
What
24.
happened to the 12?
The 12 times 2 becomes 24. That
Oh,
12
so
will show up
it
at the
got rid
end.
of it. All right, got it. Thanks.
Okay. So multiplies to 24, that adds to negative 11, negative 8, and negative 3. Yes, I'm getting it in first shot. You're not always going to get it first shot. That's okay. Try your best. Go through a couple of them if you need to. All right. So that's n minus 8, n minus 3. This is where the 12 shows up. So we're going to divide the 12.
Where
Oh,
did you
I
get 8
that.
from?
I
Oh,
got
it's
that wrong.
12n minus 8 and 12n
Oh,
minus
you have to
3.
divide by your A, right?
Your A, yes, which is
Oh,
12.
I forgot that step. That's why I got it wrong every time.
There you go. You got to remember that. So A is 12, so divide by 12. So we got to simplify as best as possible, okay? So we got to simplify as best as possible. So first one is going to reduce down to 2 over 3. And the second one could reduce down to 1 over 4. Okay? Now, we don't like fractions. So we're just going to take the denominator and slide it to the front. Take the denominator, slide it to the front. I'm going to write my answer over here. So that's going to be 3n minus 2. And the other one is 4n minus 1. Okay? But there's something special about this question.
If you wrote it not in order, would it matter?
It should be 4n minus 1. Like, if you put that first, that's okay. But it's definitely, like, don't make the mistake doing, like, 2n minus 3. That would be wrong. Okay?
Will you mark it as partial credit?
Yeah, because that's the one mistake out of the multiple things that are happening. But here, there's also one more thing. This one was an equals 0 problem. And because it equals 0, we have to finish it off. So I'm just going to rewrite that whole thing I wrote there. 3n minus 2 and 4n minus 1. I'm just rewriting it to give a little bit more clean space. You don't have to rewrite it again. But you have this. You're going to set it equal to 0. So this should remind you of some of the older thing we did. I think this was from 8.4. So we're going to set both of them equal to 0. So 3n minus 2 equals 0. And 4n minus 1 equals 0. This one plus 1 plus 1. 4n equals 1. Divided by 4, divided by 4. N equals 1/4. Over here, plus 2 plus 2. 3n equals 2. Divided by 3, divided by 3. N equals 2 over 3. And I just want to point this out. 2 over 3 and 1 over 4 should look familiar. That is the reduced fractions over here before we slide it back. So notice how that has a relationship. Okay? That will always happen if you do it correctly. Okay? But your final answer for this type of question is n equals 2 over 3 and n equals 1 over 4. I'm going to leave it on the screen a little bit. If you have any questions, just ask now.
Can you please do another problem from 8.6?
I could do that at the end because I want to get to 8 points, whatever we were last one, 8.7, and then I could go back to it. Okay, Golden? Any questions on this? If not, we're ready to move on to 8.7. All right, 8.7. I know a couple of you
Okay,
guys had
I have a
questions.
question. I have a question.
Go ahead, Adira.
Number 5. I just like at me and Rebecca were okay. I was crying about this for maybe like 3 hours, but like it's fine.
So this one has a little trick to it. Let me show you.
Yeah,
remember
it just
I
didn't make
s-
sense at all.
That's fine. Do you remember the two tests or the two things that have to pass before you do
Yeah, it
something?
has to like be a perfect square, and I don't remember the other.
Okay, the other one's important. This is where the other one shows up. So the
Yeah.
other one is you got to make sure there's nothing in common. Is there anything in common between 2 and 32?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, 2 is in
I
common.
feel like yeah.
So 2 is in common.
So
So I'm going to take out, and you know what? I'm going to take out a -2 just to make the front number positive. Okay? So a -2 is going to be in front. That's going to make this x squared minus 16. Okay?
Okay.
So now let's check the test. Is x squared a perfect squared?
yeah,
Yeah.
Is 16 a perfect squared?
Yeah.
And do they have anything in common right now?
No.
No. So now since we passed
Someone
the
turn that
test,
off.
we can
All right, can you
rewrite
tell
it.
Rebecca to stop texting me?
Mute your mic, whoever's getting texted then. X plus 4 and then x minus 4. So we write the square roots of both of these. So the square root of x
Okay.
is x, and the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 16 is 4. So x plus 4, x minus 4.
Would you do two different like plus and minus because the second one's minus, so you have to do two different ones?
You have to do two different plus and minuses?
Can you do plus and minus because there's a minus sign?
Like this?
You,
Or... No, just write it how I wrote it. That's guaranteed to correct, okay? Oh, you're talking about the -2 here? Since the -2 is here, you don't have to rewrite it with another negative. Okay? Very important point, actually. The -2 is part of your answer. You took it out, but you didn't eliminate it. You just factored it out. So you're just removing it or rearranging it if you want to think of it like that, okay? All right, Jonathan, I believe you had a question from 8.7, right?
number 12.
Number 12. Ooh, that's a tough one, but we'll get it. Okay, so that is,
I know that the start is 5.
can you take out anything more than 5 just to make sure?
No,
Can you switch your camera so it's like
no,
Yeah,
you can't take anything more than 5.
Okay, and I'm just writing the problem, so just give me a second. Okay. Okay, so Jonathan says 5. Let's take out a 5. Let's see what happens. So everything here is going to get divided by 5. So it looks like 4x squared minus 70? No, minus 28x plus 49. Okay, that's a 9. If that's not clear. Okay. All right. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video of this chat, you could do the long way, which is the ABC, or you could see if there's a pattern. So let's check if there's a special rule here. First off, and I'm going to ask Jonathan since he asked the question, is 4x squared a perfect square?
Yeah,
Okay, is 49 a perfect squared?
7 times 7.
Yeah, so
Is
yeah,
it-
it's a perfect square.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we're going to check if this middle part matches our rule. So it's going to be 2 times the square root of 4, which is another 2, times the square root of 49, which is 7, times x. 2 times 2 times 7, that's 4 times 7. That's 28x. Do those two match?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is match, and there's a minus sign here, and I'm going to show you how that affects the last answer. But they match, so we're happy, we're good. So now we could use the special rule. We'll put the 5 in front. The square root of this part here is just 2x. The square root of this part here, it's 7. Because there's a minus sign right here, let me circle it. Because there's a minus sign right there, it's just a minus sign in the middle. Now, remember, it's squared, so you just got to put a little power 2 up there, okay? So that is your final answer. 5 times 2x minus 7 to the second power.
28 just gets taken out.
28, yeah, 28 basically gets disappeared because what happens is if I were to refoil it back, 28 would reappear. 28 doesn't matter in the case.
Oh, okay.
Or 28 checked it if it was a special case, okay? That's why.
Yeah.
The only 2 steps is that first you see if it's a perfect square, and then you just
First, you check it's a perfect square. Second, if the middle is the square roots times 2 matches. So 2 is always there. This 2 is always there. This 2 is the square root of 4. This 7 is the square root of 49. And the x is always there. So
Wait, so everything needs to be a perfect square, and then you do the second step, and then you do the rest? Like every number on like 4, 28, and 49 all have to be perfect squares?
the outsides have to be perfect squared. So 4x squared and 49. The inside is your check off. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I get that.
They have 2 different jobs if that's what you're thinking of. Okay. All right. Any more questions on, what is this? 8.7.
Yeah, can you please do another one? That did not make sense.
Sure.
Mr. Tobal, thank you. I understand everything. Thank
All
you.
right. I hope this helped, man. All right. Goldman, look at it real carefully. Pick one, please.
You can choose anyone.
No, you pick one.
Just a nice hard one so I understand it. So
Somebody pick one for her.
I don't know.
0.
There's no 0 question. You know that.
Exactly.
Let's do 17. Yeah. So 3m squared plus 30m plus 75 equals 0. Okay.
Wait, what number?
Number 17.
Oh wait, none of them are perfect squares.
Can you give us a chance to do it?
Sure. I'll give you a couple minutes to do it too. But Goldman, you have to first check if there's anything in common with these 3 numbers. Is there anything
3.
in common? 3.
3.
Good. So take out a 3 first and then check the perfect square stuff, okay?
Oh, you do that first. Okay.
Do that first.
But do you take out an M2 or only a 3?
All 3 of them does not have M, so you can't take out an M.
Mm-hmm. Only if all 3 of them do.
Yeah, so if this guy had an M, you could do that, but he doesn't, so.
The perfect square, that's a perfect square. So you equals each other. So 3m. I got it.
All right.
Putting
Goldman,
my work so no one else sees. Now I'm fine.
it's fine.
Is it 3 parentheses M plus 25 squared?
Plus 5 squared. Plus 5 and then parentheses 2.
Good. So you should be, you take out a 3.
Oh, it. You know
M
it.
squared plus 15 or plus 10 plus 25 equals 0. So then this thing right here, this is a perfect square. This is a perfect square. We have to check the middle. 2 is always there. The number in front of this is 1. The square root of 25 is 5 times m. That becomes 10m. Okay, that checks off. So now we could do our special case.
Oh my god.
M plus 5 squared. equals 0. So while 3m squared plus 5, 3 times m plus 5 squared equals 0, you're right, you didn't finish because it equals 0 or it equals something.
What happened to the 10? It just like disappeared.
Oh, it equals
Yeah, it gets
0.
eaten up basically.
So we have to multiply it 3 times. We have to do it 3 twice.
No, you're going to separate this like this. Okay? Does
Oh, so
3
then it's
equal
just
0?
-3?
Well, first off, does 3 equal 0?
No.
No, so that's worthless. We don't need that. So let's look at this. M plus 5 equals 0. Now, you could put a square. What's the square root of 0, though?
0.
0. So m plus 5 equals 0. Minus 5, minus 5. M equals what in this case?
-5.
Negative 5.
Are you gonna give a problem like that?
Definitely.
What?
Yes.
And are you gonna give like a trick problem? Like what if there's no like special? What if there's no like?
If it's no special case, then you do what you do in 8.6.
Can you give one with no special case? Because I haven't seen one yet.
I'm happy to do one next, but yeah, sure.
All right, next.
All right. Okay, Goldman, feel satisfied with 8.7? Is it all right if I go back to help you out?
Yeah, but just one question. What happened to the 10M? Like, why'd you take it away?
The 10M, because we use our special case, 10M gets consumed just to do the test. Like, if you did this, Goldman, M plus 5, and then did your foiling or the distribution, that was like 8.1 or 8.2. Then you would get back this thing right here, which is m squared plus 10m.
So once you do the factoring, you don't need the one that doesn't make a square.
No, it becomes a new thing essentially, which doesn't need 10m.
Coach, I think I got it. Have a good day.
Okay, John. See you around, man.
See you around.
All right. So let's do one with an equals 0. That's not a special case. Okay. All right. So I'll take one from 8.6. Let's see. Let's do a tough one. Number 14 looks solid. Let me give him one. Number 23. 23. So I'm going to do number 23 on this page.
This is the ABC thing.
Yes. So -3. I'm going to use x instead of s, so no one gets confused as a 5. Minus x plus 10 equals 0. Then I'll put this here. Okay. So the one thing I don't like is negative for my a. So what I'm going to do is divide a -1 on everything here.
I didn't like you have to do that because when you did that in like the video I didn't do it. I didn't like I didn't like that.
Yeah, I don't like negative A.
I like doing this because what it does, it helps me not mess up with my reducing. Because I don't have to think, oh, did I divide by a negative stuff? So I'm going to do it like this. You're okay to do it your own way then. All right? So try your own way and let's.
I forgot the other way how to do it.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. I just forgot that way.
That's fine. So pay attention then. So I'm going to take out the -1. And then what's left over is 3x squared plus, because this becomes positive x, minus, because that becomes -10, equals 0. So now I'm going to do my ABCs. A is 3, B 1, C is -10. Goldman, what's my capital C going to become?
30.
Good, but -30, okay?
Oh, right.
Okay. So what multiplies to capital C? That adds to B, which is 1. Now you're like, how can we add up to 1?
No, 1 and 30. 1 and -30.
Remember, because it's -30, 1 is going to be positive and 1's going to be negative. So that's technically a subtraction. When you add a negative and positive, that's technically a subtraction.
Hmm.
So we need something
Oh,
that has
6
a-
and 5.
Good. So 6 and 5. We need a positive one. So which one of those are going to
5
be
times 6. Negative 5 times 6.
good? So we're going to do 6 and negative 5. 6 plus negative 5 is positive 1. This checks out. Okay. And I'm just going to give myself some space. So I'm going to write my work here. So that's
Whenever
gonna,
a is negative, you factor it out by -1.
yes. Is A's negative? Factor out by -1. Does makes your life a lot easier. I feel that makes your life a lot easier. But I've done videos both when you do and you don't, so you could choose which way. Okay. So what are we gonna do before we finish up? We have to pay our debt to who?
0.
Not 0.
Uncle Sam.
Well, we have to pay debt to 0, but not yet. Who we gotta pay our debt back to first?
Nah, -1.
No, well, -1's just outside. He's fine. Okay,
Oh,
we have a lot of
A.
debts, but
A.
we gotta pay our debt to A,
A.
which is 3. Because we made him disappear, now he has to reappear.
Divide.
Yeah, so we're gonna divide by 3 on both of them. Okay, this one right here is really nice because it actually reduces to x plus 2. And because it reduces to a whole number, you don't have to slide back. Over here, this does not reduce. So we're going to move that 3 over here, and it's going to become 3x minus 5. All right? Now, Goldman, who do we pay our debt to?
Now you're going to do it to 0.
Yeah, now we're going to pay our debt to 0. All right, so we split. So this is x plus 2 equals 0. So x ends up being -2. That's one answer.
The next one's 5 over 3.
Good. So 3x minus 5 equals 0. If you do your math, you're going to get 5 over 3 equals x.
If you weren't to do the -1 first, what would divide into 30 but n equals -1? -1.
It will just be flipped. So it'll be -6 and then +5.
I understand.
equals
I
30.
think I understand 8.6 now. The only chapter I really don't understand is 8.7.
Okay, but let me finish with Sam's question.
Oh,
So Sam,
Yeah.
it should be -6 and then +5.
oh, it's
So
plus
it's
10.
basically
I read it
everything
wrong.
but reverse.
I read it wrong. I thought it's in -10.
Ah, okay.
But
It becomes a -10 if you do my method. But it's a
Yeah.
+10 in the beginning, yeah.
yeah. All right. Thank you, Coach. I think I got it.
No problem.
All right. See you.
Goldman. See you around.
Yeah. Can we do one more 8.7 and then I think I got it?
Sure. Okay, so let me put up a 8.7. Anyone in particular? If I'll show you the list right now.
Oh, look. Oh, that's the list. What did we have to go till 17?
Let's see. What did I say you got to go to? Yep, 17.
Yeah. So let's do number 17.
We did 17 already.
Oh, we did? 16
Yeah.
then.
Let's do 16 then. 8a squared minus 72 equals 0. 8a squared minus 72 equals 0.
Okay, so wait, can I walk you through it just to see like if I know it?
Walk me through it. What would you do first?
So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take out 8 from it.
Good.
So it's gonna be a squared minus 9 equals 0, but you're gonna put in parentheses and then put 8 next to it. Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that. Go ahead.
And then you're gonna do the perfect square thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna do 8, a new parentheses, but 8 outside of it.
Yeah.
And then a minus 3 and then squared.
Mm-mm. This was a 2-term one. So we got to do a minus 3 and what else?
Oh, wait, why is it 2 terms though?
There's 2 numbers in this parentheses, or 2 set of numbers. So when it's
A plus 3?
a plus 3.
But why? How do you know to do 2 different ones?
All right. So is it all right if I explain why it becomes like this?
Yeah, but like, how do I know to do 2? If the second one plus or the second
Oh.
one minus?
If you have the middle thing when you have to do the test, it would just become the square version. You don't have the middle thing to do the test. You remember the middle thing? Like, yeah, 10x was usually the other one.
Oh, if there's no middle thing, then
Minus
then
and plus.
second ones, then there are different signs.
Yes,
But if there is a middle thing,
they'll be the
then
same sign.
then it's just squared.
Uh-huh.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
And then you do the equal 0. So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
the 8 doesn't matter.
Good.
So a minus 3 equals 0. So plus 3, a equals 3.
Good. Anything else?
And that's it. That's it.
No. Hello.
What else?
This guy too, a plus 3.
Oh, right. Forgot
So-
about that one.
So a plus 3 equals 0, minus 3 minus 3.
Oh,
A
so this one
equals-
is a equals negative 3.
Good. So your two answers happen to be both positive and negative 3.
Yeah. So you have to do one for each of the parentheses.
Yeah. But when it's squared, it's only one set of parentheses, so you only have to do it once.
Okay, I think I got it. Thank you.
Hey, no problem. All right. I hope this helped, guys, and use this to your advantage. All right. Yeah, the test is on Thursday. Good luck. I'll try to do some outro problems on my videos. All right. See you around.